Bob and Zip, the guys who do the morning show in the afternoon here on 100 FM The Pike, are joining me right now. What's up, gentlemen? How are you?
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mike Shue. How are you? We're fine, I think.
This is one. It's weird because you're not actually in here. I'm dealing with two guys in two different locations, but hopefully that'll change soon. But I have a memory of the Talking Heads and you guys. Now, I don't want to make you guys feel old, but when I was in high school, I used to get up and listen to you guys growing up in Natick before I went, or maybe blew off. I should say before I blew off going to Natick High School for the day. Mm-hmm. And I remember you guys played, I think the new Talking Heads at the time was And She Was. And you guys played it, and you came out of it, and Bob went, oh, that's a cool little song. And Zip, in like just the grouchiest voice possible, went, I don't like that at all.
I'm sure that went over well with management.
Isn't that the number one rule?
Success, by the way. Disagree with each other constantly. Create all this stress and tension. By the way, it's funny that you would have a memory of just one little moment like that from, decades ago. And
right.
That I remember it just as clearly. I do. Because that song, And She Was... And she was lying in the grass, and she could hear the highway breathing.
Yes.
And she could see a nearby factory.
Yes.
She's making sure she's not dreaming.
Oh, dear.
See the lights of a neighbor's house. Now she's starting to rise. It was such a great song, but it was a kind of what's the right word? It's got
departure.
It's a hit, which is why Zip didn't like it. He hates hit record. He only likes poor blues and jazz people who can't make a living.
Well, hold on, Zip. I know you're a huge Allman Brothers fan, and in that way, brother, we have a lot in common because they are. So if the song is less than 12 minutes, Zip doesn't want to hear anything about it. Right?
It's a 3-minute pop song. That's funny though, because I actually remember him saying that. I remember him looking at me going, I don't like that.
Yeah, this could be 9 minutes longer.
Oddly, I don't recall it, but that's all right. But that's not unusual either.
Bob,
here's
Zip.
the other big difference between me and Zip. Zip had that Tom Selleck good looks thing going,
and he still does, sir.
He does.
Yeah, in that recent Zoom corporate meeting, Zip came on with the flowing locks. I was like, look at Zip.
Wow. You guys got to get some eye tests, man.
He looks like Matt Houston. Wow.
And Mike, may I just say it's really good to be here with you, although we are the morning show that starts at noon.
Yeah, how do I get that? How do I change to that gig? How do I get the morning show at noon?
Yeah.
Well, Bob and I conducted a massive email campaign between the two of us to management. We think they should be on at noon time. Absolutely. We won't listen unless they start at noon.
Yeah. I think it has about as much chance as a $30 minimum wage, which is not great.
Well, Bob and Zip are on here on 100 FM The Pike. It's the morning show that starts at noon and goes to 4 on Saturdays, and then I come on after you guys on Saturdays. But you were doing mornings at the late, great WAAF, which was started right across the street here at the Cocaine Realty Building, which is an actual name. I want to let people know. I didn't know that until I actually moved here 20 years ago. So my whole life, I thought, on AAF, they were just calling it the Cocaine Realty Building for obvious reasons. But there's an actual family named Cocaine. But I'm sure you guys weren't doing any of that.
Well, it's strange because everyone who looked into that was like, why are they calling it that? And then you would go by and there would be, was it law offices, Zip? Or was it real? It was real. It was just realtors. But anyway,
it's realtors, I think. Yeah,
it would have the name of the family, and it's a family name, which, as family names go, there are some family names that are a little bit unfortunate, aren't there?
Yeah, I mean, I know a guy in Pennsylvania I've been friends with for years named Ray Balls. That's a character building name.
Well, we had a regular caller,
a troubled childhood.
Yes, right.
Wow.
He took some abuse, probably.
We had a regular caller named Dick Hertz from Holden.
Yes, of course you did.
That was a mainstay of our comedic content for many years, I'll tell you.
So how many, first of all, to let people know, when were the years you were doing the morning show at WAAF?
Zip?
Well, I believe, against some memories are foggy, was it Like 81 to 87?
81, because that's when I got married, and I had to drive to Vermont, and I got stuck in a snowstorm. So I know it was 81, and then 87, because that's when I quit to move to Baltimore, and I was trying like heck to bring Zip with me. But Zip had so many girlfriends and so little time to think about moving.
The flowing locks. Yeah, for sure.
So 81 to 87.
Jeez. Yeah, and then I spent 2 years with Drew Lane, and so I was there from 81 to 89, I guess.
Right. And then he went off with Drew Lane to fame and fortune, but he missed Worcester so much he could not wait to get back.
Well, Worcester's an awesome place. I can understand that. I've been here for 20
years. It has come a long,
yes.
long way, man.
I've been here for over 20 years, and they have made amazing strides in this city. And I'm glad to actually be working here. And I'm really happy to be working on the same radio station as you guys. Like I said, I grew up listening to you guys, and I'll put all the blame on you. You were like role models.
Well, that's terrible. And we're very apologetic.
Yes, exactly. Let us write a note or two to your folks.
So I wanted to ask, while you were here, or while you were in Worcester at WAAF, what was the worst trouble you got into?
Well, let's see. Well,
how many hours are you on for this morning? Are you only on for 3 more hours?
Yes.
Okay.
Just unfortunate comments that were taken the wrong way. And then there was a couple of parody tunes, I think, that got us in trouble, as I recall.
And then there's the time it was Christmas Eve, and I didn't really want to work, but I was asked to work, and I felt no one should have to work on Christmas Eve, and I invited a band to come and hang out with me, and we found some rope, and it caught fire, and various things like that happened, and I got caught.
It's a very distinctive smell, burning rope.
That burning rope.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: I was caught, and the guy who turned me in, resulted in me being in front of the general manager on Monday morning at 10 a.m. Okay, and I'm walking into what I'm sure is I'm gonna be fired, and he looked at me and said, "You want to tell me anything about Christmas Eve?" And I was like, "Okay." This is like this happens with your parents too, right? If you get caught with your parents and you go, should I tell them the truth? Will I get more points for being honest? I mean, Richard Nixon tried to cover it up and he got impeached. So anyway, I told him the truth, and he looked at me and he went, "Could we not have that happen again?" The guy I'm talking about, Zip.
Yeah, Steve Marks, correct?
So it didn't happen again. I did all of my terrible things outside of the studio after that.
I thought he was going to ask you if you had any more of that rope.
These days, that would probably happen.
And that's the funny thing. Like, there are billboards telling me where I can buy rope legally everywhere right now.
Right. I never thought I'd see the day.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Well, what about one of your proudest moments? Maybe something that really went well, or maybe something you did with charity or something that you did while you were at WAAF.
From my perspective, real quick, thanks to Bob Goodell, who we all owe a huge debt of gratitude to for keeping this thing alive all these years.
Yeah.
He arranged to have me sit in with Greg Allman's band at the Channel Club.
Oh, my.
Which was a memory I will always cherish. It was great fun. It was really cool. And those guys at that time were such road dogs, too, man. They were.
And Zip was such a huge fan of Greg Allman. There's a story he tells about Greg Allman. It's too close to the rope story, so we're not going to bring it up this morning.
It's true.
A lot of rope.
It's true.
Yeah, only it's not rope. It's something else.
Okay.
But that was amazing. The biggest thing for me probably was when Zip and I got invited to be on V66, which was Boston's answer to MTV back in the day.
Oh yeah,
and we got to do a 3-hour music video show as VJs. Again, Zip's the good-looking one, and he looked fantastic on TV. And we did a song called "Just a Big Ego," which is a parody of David Lee Roth. And he's saying, "I'm just a big ego, and everywhere I go, people say that they adore me." You've heard the song.
Yeah.
So it was the most added record on rock radio.
Wow.
And Van Halen came to what was then the Centrum in Worcester.
Yeah.
And Eddie Van Halen comes running up to me backstage and says, it's a great blanking record. And he signed the record, and he wrote that down with the expletive. I'm still honored I still have it.
Well, of course he did. He hated David Lee Roth. Well,
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Wow, that's awesome. I mean, first of all, meeting the late great Eddie Van Halen, and then sitting in Zip with your idol, one of your idols. Anyway,
that was amazing.
That's pretty. Yeah, that is pretty awesome. Well, you guys were a huge part of WAAF, of the history of WAAF, and a very influential morning show, and it definitely influenced me. Not just to get into radio, but to pursue a career in rope making. And I just think that, it's really a thrill for me to be working on the same radio station as you guys. So I really appreciate you checking in this morning. And my inaugural week, I'm trying not to break things. And, it's been a blast, though. And I really want to thank you guys for checking in. And I want to remind people they're on tomorrow, starting at noon, the only morning show that starts at noon. I'm going to try to wrangle that in my deal.
What a great guy, by the way, Mike Shue, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
He's a total pro, and he's even nice to the elderly. I appreciate it very much.
That's right, because I'm pretty close to that, Bob. So, karma's a bitch, as they say. So
let's do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
Fun, sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, at noon, any day at noon.
Yeah, I really want to thank you guys for getting up early and joining me this morning.
We'll do that anytime. Mike Shue, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Big news, big deal. Great to have you.
All right. Bob and Zip, ladies and gentlemen.